Neetu, you are inspiring many people. Today, I have got a lot of inspiration. Some part of the story I can relate to my own journey. Thank you
Wonderful,
so much.
wonderful, wonderful. We're going to go to the next speaker now and wait for the question answers right at the end, because and then we will also have the Kauri reading right at the end. Actually, Binaifa did come in the middle and then she had to go back again. So that's okay. Everything is divine timing. So my next speaker is Gopal Krishnan Raman, and that's not how I call him. So I'm little going on that name. It's too long for me. I call him lovingly Gopu, and I met him in Venus Club, and I think it's about 4 years back or 5 years back. I don't remember. And he was the first person who sat down and said, "I want to know something about you." Nobody had done that. I'd come back to India and nobody had asked me, "How are you? What are you doing? Why are you there? What has happened with you?" Nobody. I came back and I was in my own trip in my life, trying to do things, trying to cope up with whatever life was throwing at me. And Gopal Raman met me, made an effort, met me at golf club. I sat down there, had a cup of tea with him. I spoke about my life. To be really honest, I never realized that this gentleman could himself have any pain or anything. He did speak about his life, and we exchanged a very warm evening with each other. Uh, After that, I was called over to his house once to meet his son. And what I was looking at there made me understand the strength Gopu has, the dedication and consistency as a father he has. And I salute the divinity in you, Gopu, for being the person that you are. Because no matter what life would have thrown at you, I had never seen you unempowered. I had never seen you small. I had always seen you very big and someone who was collected and complete together. And you inspired me many, many times that जख्म तो होते हैं पर जख्मों का इलाज भी होता है. So over to you, and over to you weaving the magic. I will be carrying him through this whole talk, just like I did with Neetu. But I will first open the forum for him to introduce himself. Thank you.
Thank you, Neetu. Uh,
Anu.
I hope, thank you, Anu, and thank you, Neetu, for a lovely,
Amazing.
inspiring talk. It was really awesome. I salute you for your courage and boldness. So, my life was something quite tough and challenging, but let me start with my childhood. So, I would like to tell you that I was born in a very middle class family. My father uh, was basically a Tamil Brahmin, came from Kerala, and he did his, you know, normally people join as a typist or a stenographer or something. But my father was educated. He was a BA in English, so he joined the war office. It was World War time, so he joined the war office. So that's how he started his life, and very tough life those times in 1920s and 30s. Uh, I was born into this family much later. We are actually four of us in the family, four siblings, and I'm the last. And my childhood was very, very happy because I was the last born, so I was, uh, cared and cajoled and petted and whatnot, as you may say. And I was born after a gap. So me and my eldest sister were about 9 years apart, and I had a very enjoyable childhood. Uh, there are some pictures. Probably I can show it to you. Anu, can you pull that out for me? Because unfortunately my laptop is not working.
Okay, so what we'll
And
do
I'm
is we'll
using
show
my.
the pictures right at the end. You can go with
Yeah,
the
sure.
flow
We can
right
do that.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I will just go with the story and then.
Yeah. Do you want
So
me to
I had a very
moderate, or
lovely
will you
childhood.
go ahead with yourself?
Yeah, I will start and then you can butt in wherever you want.
Okay, wonderful.
You know the story.
Yes.
So I had a lovely childhood, and I was brought up in a middle class, cultured, musically oriented family. All of us were musicians in our family. All the four siblings, my father, my mother, everybody was a musician in some way or the other. So we were heavily into classical Carnatic music, as all of you know, which is one of the styles of Indian music. The other one is Hindustani classical. So we were day in and day out into music. It was studies or else music. Of course, I used to go and play as well. So my childhood was very happy, and I from day one, from first standard onwards, I was reasonably good in my studies. So I went through my SSC and finished my 11th. Those times it was SSLC, 11th standard. So I went into college, and I chose, in spite of getting good marks in science. Everybody we used to go for science those days. But I chose to go into commerce, and because somehow I was very good in maths, and numbers attracted me at a very young age. So, because even in music, mathematics was important because you have to put the beats and the cycle and everything. So, numbers were the big attraction. So, I went into commerce and I joined R.A. Bodhar College in Mumbai, and I was, as I told you, an average student, but there was suddenly something which happened when I was in the second year of college. I was also a sports person, so I used to play basketball. I used to be into dramatics. I used to be in theater. So I used to act in all the plays of my college, as well as I could also sing a little bit, and I used to play all the rhythm instruments. So be it tabla, dolak, Congo, or whatever bongos. So I used to play for all the classical side of the music as well as the Bollywood kind of music. So I was wanted heavily in the college scenario because I was wanted in the music room. I was wanted in the dramatics theater group. I was wanted in the games of basketball, and also I had to study and keep up with my tutors. So my day was really packed from morning 6 till about night 10 o'clock. It was packed with all these activities. So I used to do all these things almost every other day. And one fine day, early in the morning, in the second year of my college, I was about 16 and a half, 17 years old roughly. And I was going for my basketball class early in the morning, and I came back home for the shower, change, and my breakfast. And then my tutorials used to start at 9 o'clock, so I had to go back. So I used to walk and go from my house, which is only about 15 minutes walk through the shortcut. And as I was crossing the main road, uh, a taxi guy came and hit me from the back. And he actually, what happened, I really don't know after he hit me. But they say that the front bumper uh, got hooked onto my uh, trousers or something like that. And I was dragged by the cab for about 100 meters.
Oh my God.
And my head hit the ground, the road, and I was being dragged. So imagine yourself being pushed by a vehicle for about 100 meters. And I had a major head injury. I was bleeding profusely. My back was aching because I had fell down on my buttocks. So by the time the taxi stopped, he braked, he stopped. A huge crowd had gathered. I was unconscious and bleeding. And luckily, some college mate of mine saw me because he was also going to college. He saw me, hey, who is this guy? He's known to me. And he picked me up and he told the cab guy, you're not running away. We have to take him to the hospital. And the entire crowd also said that. And I was taken to the hospital, to the nearest hospital, which was the government hospital at San. And I was put in there and I was operated on the head. massive, some 12 stitches crosses were there, and I was operated, and I gained consciousness probably 8 to 10 hours later, and I was okay. I felt some pain, but I was being probably given injections and painkillers, so I was felt okay, but I felt that I was reborn. Honestly speaking, I felt as if I had died and I was reborn again. So this was a very major. I would call it a second birth for me. And then I was in bed for almost 2 months, and my colleagues and the classmates and all came and helped me. I had to miss the quarterly exam and all that. Anyway, so but college was 4 years of college was great fun. We had a lot of music, dance, drama, so many things, and I used to participate in everything, and it was fun. So I finished my graduation, and thereafter I started. I had got a job in a bank, and I had also passed the CA entrance exam. Both happened on the same day. Had got a job in a bank, and the same day the CA entrance results came, and I passed. So I was asking my dad what to do. So he said, "It's your choice. You want to work, you work, or you want to pursue CA, you pursue. But actually, there's no need for you to work because we have a family business, and we can take care of your education." So he said, "Why don't you choose CA and do that?" So I pursued that, joined the CA course, and I finished my intermediate course. And suddenly, my brother and my father, who were handling the family business of printing, they had an issue. There was some problem, a challenge, and I had finished my inter CA, and I was then studying for my higher next examination for the final CA, and my articles was going on. At that time, my brother and my father called everybody in the night and said, we need to have a family discussion. And he said, you know what, we've had a problem in the office. Our partner has cheated us to the tune of x lakhs, and we have caught him, and we have filed a police complaint, and now we are proceeding to throw him out. So we have to, pay him to get out, because we don't want to put him in the prison and go through a court case and all that. We just want to get rid of him. So the valuation of the business was done, and whatever was his percentage of the share, my father and my brother were decent enough to agree to pay that. But there was a time frame which was 27 days to pay 2 lakh and odd rupees, and then we had to scramble that money from somewhere or the other. So we managed that with contacts, my father's contacts,
So
my
Gopal,
brother's
at that time,
contacts.
that 2 lakhs was what was the actual value of that 2 lakhs at that time? Because people would
2
think
lakh
of 2 lakhs as 2 lakhs
2 lakhs
today.
in today's value, it will be 20 crores.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, in today's value. But that time, 2 lakhs, 2 lakh 40,000, or whatever it was, the amount was like huge. I
Yeah.
mean, we used to manage home expenses for 5,000. So you can imagine how
Yes.
many times more it was. So we had to really struggle to pay that amount, but we did it. We got a bank loan sanctioned in no time. We gathered some handy loans from people. My mother had to, pledge her ornaments, take some loan from bank, and all that we put together, somehow managed. Uh, by the end of the month, we were able to settle that man and throw him out and take over. But when we took over, my father and my brother were finding it difficult because the entire accounts and the finance was handled by that partner. So they told me, in the evening, from straight from your articleship, you come here and help us with all these, accountancy things and all that. You handle, since you are done BCom, all that. So I took over that section of the business, and handled that for a couple of years. Simultaneously, I had to study and finish my final CA, which I could not complete because of I got very deeply involved in the business. in the first 2 years, and I started understanding the business more. And in the meanwhile, my father also had some health issues. He had a heart attack and things like that. So he was kind kind of taking a backseat, and he was very much involved in social life. He was a very prominent citizen of Matunga, Vadalasan, that area in Mumbai. And he was involved with many institutions, South Indian institutions, the Shanmugananda Sabha, and many kind of all those kind of institutes, musical as well as educational institutions, cultural institutions. So he was very busy in his social life. So was he busy in the business, but he could not devote time. His passion was doing work for in the community, and he has helped, I don't know, probably thousands of people get admissions in schools and colleges, get jobs, and so many things he had done in his heydays. So I started this business, and along with joined the business along with my brother, and we were trying to expand, and we were doing really well. And in 81, 82, in those times, we started becoming really big, and we grabbed some big orders. And while executing one of those big orders of a large company with a very small capacity that we had, we had to really farm out a lot of work, and we were busy. And during that period, there was a marriage in the family, and my mother wanted to go for the wedding, and we were all busy with the work that we had got from the corporate the world. And we told my mother that, we all can't come. But she insisted, I want to go. It was my bua's daughter's wedding. So she went for the wedding. After all, my father was not very reluctant, but she told us, you boys tell your dad that, I want to go. So finally we did let her go, and she enjoyed the entire journey to that wedding, because it was out of Bombay. It was in Tirupati. She went in the train with 40-50 people. You know how weddings are. They enjoyed. She even in the previous evening, she put all the they put all the decorations in the hall. She did all that by hand, and then she was singing Lord's praise, and she sang about Lord Tirupati Balaji. All that she did. And early morning at 4:30, on the wedding day, she had a massive heart attack. She passed away. So we got this news about hour and a half later, and luckily my first cousin, she was a doctor on the scene, so she was able to help out, and the local doctor certified. But we had to decide whether to bring the body back to Bombay or cremate there. Then, the cumbersomeness of bringing those days were very difficult. It's not so easy to bring a dead body back to a city. That too, it's not in Chennai. It is 4 or 5 hours from Chennai. So we decided the other way around, that we'll cremate her there only, because it's a very divine place. And that's what happened. My brother and my babi went there, and they did the cremation, because we couldn't all go. We had the work was still going on here, and I had to back up here, and my dad had to chip in uh, because they had to go. So my dad always used to say the show must go on, and the wedding went on, and the funeral also happened on the same day. So my cousin's wedding anniversary and my mother's death anniversary falls on the same day. Even today, when they celebrate her wedding anniversary, we think of my mother, and we always talk. So that's how life was, and it went on, and we did a lot of business in the next 10 to 12 years. It was like a bull run, I would say. Yeah, it was a bull run. So after about 12, 15 years of heavy work, uh, and in the meantime, after my mother's death, because my father was alone, and My brother and Bobby also were there. They were all insisting on my marriage. So we we were looking for proposals and things like that. And finally, we got a they found a girl uh, in Chennai, and I got married to that girl, and she was just 21 years old, and we got married in Chennai, and thereafter she moved with me to Bombay, and then life started as a family. Two of us started on a fresh note, and then yes, I had my we had our first kid about 5 years down the line. A son was born, and then a couple of years later, we had a daughter also. In the meanwhile, the business was growing big, and in about 12 to 15 years' time, we had become one of the leading printing companies in India, honestly, and we were doing huge amount of business. So that is when the thought of expansion came. That is when the thought of going for a listing came, because IPOs were very famous. A lot of companies were going in the IPO route to get more money and expand. We also decided to jump in the bandwagon, and we floated a IPO after the Harshad Mehta scam. So about 8 to 9 months after that. So the stock market actually, by the time our IPO came, it was really bad, and the issue bombed, and then there was hardly any subscription for the public issue, and then we had to um, uh, we took a wrong decision in not devolving on the underwriters. So that decision cost us a lot. It cost actually a very major uh, change in the whole life of our company and family. So very tough 2 years we had to go through after that the public issue was floated, because we had to borrow and fill up the subscription and all that stuff. And we had to ask many people, friends, and the brokers and all those fraternity to put in the money. And then somehow we got it listed in the listing. As in those days, listing was in 21 days or something like that. So always used to have that time period for everything. So somehow we managed that, but then that was the beginning of the disaster, and from there all the issues, problems started, challenges started. We had bought some property which was bad, bad in the sense it was bad in Vastu, and we had borrowed, and everything boomeranged from that particular year onwards. And in that particular year itself, uh, we had to pay the toll uh, on the stress that came on us. And my father had a very massive heart attack, and he passed away. This is just within a year of uh, the listing. And my father was the chairman of the company when he died. So, and we had a very close friend and benefactor who was a vice chairman. He was an ex-chairman of a public sector bank. So this is how it happened, and then we had to, change course, and uh, almost kind of ditch our project and go ahead with things. Then slowly we try to recover and see how to go about things. Uh, yeah, Anu. So,
Yeah.
would you like
So,
to
so what
ask me
happened
something?
after this? I mean, you remember what happened to your brother after this, right? Your brother,
Yeah, that was a year later, year and a half later.
a year and a half later, what happened to your brother?
Well, due to so much of stress and all these things going wrong, he suddenly left home, and he was not.
Has he been found?
No.
How many years back was that?
20, 22 years, 23 years almost.
So just
22 years
imagine,
now.
guys, losing your mom, not seeing her on the last day, losing your father, and then losing your brother. He was like a one-man show after that. And so can you tell our audience how did you regenerate the business back, and how you still alive and kicking, and when there is actually, and how did your wife really support you through this? Because every family member that you practically had was not there with you anymore.
Yeah, you're right. Almost everybody deserted us. Not only family members, even our top level management. It was a running corporate company, right? So
Yeah,
basically, we had professional people on board.
yeah,
So one by one, everybody started leaving the company because they knew now that the main man is gone.
yeah. Like Neetu had said, bags were not full anymore. They didn't have the
Yes,
goodies to give anyone anything. And when the goodies are
absolutely.
not there, people are not there.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a very challenging situation because I was almost left alone in a couple of 1 year or so. Within a year, everybody deserted us, and we had to. And I had to then gather support from my wife. My baby was already she was grieving, and she was pulling herself together.
Right.
So my wife said, "Don't worry, I'll step in." And she had some little bit of experience because she used to come to the office to look after the admin side once in a way. You know, the, when the children were away in school, she used to come that way, spend a few hours and learn, some of the admin things, and she used to handle that. So now in this situation, she had to jump in full hog into this.
Absolutely.
So we had to keep a maid at home who will, full time maid who will look after the kids. So she used to come in the morning with me, and then by about afternoon, late afternoon, she would come back home while I would stay back and continue with my work and handling the clients and things like that, which was my job. But then the going was very tough. And as you know, when the going gets tough is when the tough people get going. So I was really strong. I don't know how I got the strength.
I
I
can
really
hear
don't
it in
know.
your voice. I can hear it in your voice. It's just for
Yes,
everybody to know, he bounced back. He bounced back.
I bounced back.
He didn't give up his life.
I said, let's forget, push things back
Yes.
and concentrate on how to come out of this. Luckily for us, we had good assets, a lot of assets
Yes.
created over the last 15, 20 years.
Yes.
So that actually, I started putting a value to those assets. And then every day I should do this, put a valuation to the assets, and then against that, put what are the liabilities I have. We almost every day I used to do this because I was good in finance and mathematics, and my accountancy came into help. Then
So
with the help of
what
some
was
of
the
my
philosophy that
friends,
what was your philosophy that kept you going despite the loss of your mom, despite the loss of your dad, despite your brother going, and you not just lost your brother, but your sister-in-law was grieving. Things were never going to be the same again because yes, your brother could have come back, but other two people couldn't have come back. So what kept you going? What was your philosophy of life that didn't let you give up on your life? What was your thought pattern at that time?
yeah. So I always used to remember what my father always used to say is, when you have taken up something, see it to the last, see it to the end, and be always bold and be resolute at
Wow.
any given situation. So I
You
used to always remember that sentence which he used to tell me.
you sing, don't you?
Yeah, I do sing. I do.
Can you
play
sing for us?
tabla.
Can you sing for
Oh,
us?
definitely, definitely, I will
Please go
sing.
ahead and sing for us, and then we'll share your PowerPoint.
Oh yeah, sure, sure.
Thank you.
So I'm not trained. I'm not a trained singer, but I am actually totally untrained
We
in
are not
everything.
trained hearers at all. We also don't, we have not got any
No, no,
training.
I'm just saying, for the sake of saying, because I didn't learn the tabla or the mridangam or the dolak. It just came to me. So it's a gift
Wow.
of God, according to me.
Wow.
So I can, you can imagine that in college times I used to play with Hariharan.
Wow.
He was nobody at that time. He is my childhood friend even today. But we
Wow.
used to sit and do music. So he used to sing, I used to play, and then we used to have a lot of fun.
चलिए
We
आज
even
हमें थोड़ा कुछ सुना दीजिए मजा आ जाए
we also recorded a cassette, and then we sent it to R.D. Burman at that time, because he was one of the number one music directors at that time. So whatever, this is a bit of rub off from Hariharan only. We used to sing together and play together and have fun. So even now when he meets me, he always says, "Eh, juna din yaad aata hai, chalo chai peete hain," and all that. We used to have fun. But today he's an amazing, great celebrity singer. But let me give a little bit, a small song for all of you.
thank you. This is dedicated to every one of you on the
Yeah, all
Facebook,
of you,
all of
whoever
you,
is there.
whoever is there.
Yeah. So
चलिए
one of my favorite R.D. Burman songs I'm going to sing now. Uh, just 1 minute. I'm just looking out for the YouTube lyrics so that I can sing
yes
it for
of
you.
course
Yeah. It's a lovely song. Uh, the lyrics also are very nice. I like this song very much. So let me sing this for you.
thank you आप अटक गए फिर से
रात कली. Can you hear?
now just in
रात
between your
कली एक ख्वाब में आई और गले का हार हुई. रात कली एक ख्वाब में आई और गले का हार हुई. सुबह को जब हम नींद से जागे, हाँ ऊंची से चार हुई. रात कली एक ख्वाब में आई और गले का हार हुई. So
wow
that's it.
थोड़ा सा
Thank you
और
so much.
थोड़ा सा और
थोड़ा सा और.
हाँ हाँ वो तो गले
I
के
don't know
नीचे भी
the
नहीं
lyrics.
उतरा
हाँ
गले के
जी.
नीचे भी नहीं उतरा
But can you hear me now?
yes I can and you're
Okay.
brilliant
Yeah, thank you. So I will continue that same song.
thank you गाइस सपोर्ट करें थोड़ी वीडियो शटर्स ऑन करके थोड़ी थम्स अप दिखाएं इनको इनको समझ नहीं आ रहा कि ये बहुत अच्छे हैं
हो सके तुम ही बता दो, आगे कहो इसे मेरी मोहब्बत, काहे हसीने उड़ा दो. ये क्या हुआ मुझे, मुझको खबर नहीं, हो सके तुम ही बता दो. ये बदम तो रखा जमी पर, सीने में क्यों जनकार हुई. रात कली एक ख्वाब में आई और गले का हार हुई.
wow wow amazing
Thank you,
very very good very
No,
very
and
thank you.
this is
good
something he's saying when he hasn't learned music.
हाँ ये जब सीखा नहीं है अगर
Now we have.
ठीक है.
सीखते तो पता नहीं क्या करते है ना?
पता नहीं, पता नहीं।
पता नहीं, सीखे बिना ये हाल है।
या
इन्होंने
या
जिंदगी भी जीनी सीखी नहीं थी, उसके बिना ये लेसन
हम्म,
के बिना इन्होंने जी ली।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
अगर जी के आते तो फिर पता नहीं क्या करते।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
थैंक यू जी, थैंक यू
सही।
सो 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 मच। बिनाइफर
या
आप हो?
डेफिनेटली।
बिनाइफर आप हो? ओके, आई कांट सी बिनाइफर।